Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to X Factor Trading. I sure am glad you're here today. I hope you'll find this video informative and valuable. I hope you'll hit the subscribe button, like, and share if you find it so. Today I just wanted to go over a very simple but effective multi-time frame strategy for trading. On this particular chart, the chart is euro dollar. It's 5 minute, but here we have one of my custom indicators that I've made, or that I had made, should I say. I didn't do the actual programming. And in this indicator, this is a 1 hour chart. I can go in and we can check. I can put up to 4 small charts there and change the time frames as I please, and adjust a couple other settings, but that's neither here nor there at the time. That is a basic 1 hour chart. As a matter of fact, if we change this to a 1 hour chart, you will see they line up perfectly. Back to the 5 minute. Now, one thing you got to remember, because this is a 1 hour chart and this is a 5 minute chart, each one of these candles represents 12 of these candles. So you can't look right here and right here on both charts at the same time to compare whatever it is you're analyzing. So we have this nifty little locate tool that you can drag somewhere, and if you drag it across the top, the bottom adjusts, and if you drag it across the bottom, the top adjusts. So it really comes in handy to be able to do multi-time frame analysis on one page, one screen, without having to have multiple charts or to flip back and forth. And down here at the bottom we have just a bunch of standard indicators that I put all on one screen because it just makes it convenient to flip back and forth and maybe get some differing opinions. So one of the most common thoughts amongst trading, specifically trend trading, is to kind of use moving averages as your trend indicator, meaning you pick whatever moving average you like, and if price is closing above it, you're in an uptrend, and closing below it, you're in a downtrend. So what we're going to use is this 1 hour chart. We're going to put a moving average 1, 2, and 3. I can change them to whatever I want them to be. However, I do know that this is a 34 exponential moving average. If you're new to trading, don't get hung up in exactly what setting or type of moving average. There is no such thing as a best moving average. There is no such thing as a best type of moving average, whether it's simple, exponential, linear, or whatever the case may be. They all serve a purpose and can all be traded virtually the same way. So here we are. Now, what are we going to do? We want to trade with the trend, and we want to trade with the trend of the higher time frame. So we'll start off kind of simple here. We're going to say if we're above this EMA, that we're in an uptrend. So I'll drag this line to about right here. Well, if I can get it there. Sometimes it does get kind of finicky. So after this candle closed strong above the EMA, now I do not, if it's barely a close, if it's like right in this area, I don't know if you guys, how good you guys will be able to see it, but like right in here, you got it barely closes on the line with a bearish candle. Then there's barely a bullish candle, and it's just kind of on the line. I don't fool with that myself, and I wouldn't recommend it. But here we got a nice strong close, kind of indicating that we could be indeed in tune for a nice bullish run here. So we got to find this blue line on the main chart, and there it is. And there's that nice big move that you see in the one candle right here. Alright, so now what? There's a couple different options. If you're a little more advanced trader, you can look for patterns, double bottoms, or you can look for divergences and things of that nature. But if you're more of a beginner trader, it's really simple to start with basic trend lines. And trend line breaks. Boom. Now, I don't know how many of these will work out, but we'll see. Boom. This is really a high percentage trade. But as with all trading, it kind of depends on your own. Oops, let me cut that off. Your own money management, your own personal rules for stop loss or take profits, things of that nature. The difference in the decisions you make there can be the difference between a particular strategy being profitable for one person and not profitable for the next person. Now, if you're having difficulties deciding on how to draw trend lines, well, we'll address that in a different video. But as you can see, you can draw trend lines all over the place, and every one of those trend lines, not saying it's a guaranteed winning trade, but there's opportunity to win, and most of them with any basic risk reward of like a 1-to-1 type trade setup. I mean, here you're about 10 pips back, you get that pretty quick. Here, let's see, I would probably take this candle above them. I'm looking for about 15 pips. You get that. So you guys get the picture. Here, this one might be questionable because I wouldn't take this initial candle. It's got too big of a wick on it for me. So I'd be looking to trade up here, 16 pips. There's 9 pips there. But it never, depending on your stop loss below this, it does come down here before it shoots way up here, and I bet we get our 15 on this move. Yep. So let's say you were running, let's just say a 5 pip stop loss. So we'd be at 22. Let's see if we get there. I'm just guessing. We don't. So we'd be looking for, bam. So, and that's not quite 1-to-1. But you do get some really good signals. Get some fairly good signals here, but you get some really strong signals here about exiting the market if you're actively managing your trade. So there's still opportunity there to make good money on your trade. Could very well be a losing trade depending on how you handle it. Here you got one. Here you got a nice little longer trend line. A break above, and then you do get this retrace here. So again, depending on where you got and if you got in here, and you were here, and say you run a 5 pip stop loss, you'd have been really close, because that you'd have been looking at about 10 pips, 10.5 pips is where your stop loss would be, and that comes down to about 9.3, 9.4 pips plus your spread and stuff. So it'd been really close, but obviously you got some good opportunity there. Same thing here. You break above. Now you're here. You got 9 and 26. So this is a very basic concept on how you can trade multiple time frames using the higher time frame as your guidance for trend direction, and then letting the market give you answers as to where it's going. Don't just blindly enter trades. Don't sit here and get you a basic indicator like this RSI and try to trade every time it comes out overbought, oversold. Yeah, you'll have some winners. but more often than not, you'll end up getting in trouble. A lot of these in this run actually look pretty good, but trust me, that's not always the case. Always let market structure tell you when to trade, and the very basic way to do that is trend lines. Now, one thing I didn't say that I should have said to start with when it comes to drawing trend lines, when I look to draw a trend line that I'm looking for a buy, a bullish movement off of, my trend line has to be either completely horizontal or descending, like this. I do not trade breakouts of trend lines. Personally, this is just my rule. I do not trade breakouts, bullish breakouts of ascending lines. Just a personal rule that I have. Do they work? Absolutely they work in some cases. They don't work for me in the way I like to trade. So, and in the opposite, if I'm looking for a bearish break of a trend line, then it does have to be ascending, and I will not draw descending trend lines and look for a bearish break. It has to be an ascending trend line for a bearish break. So, as far as drawing from highs to highs or from wicks to wicks, it really doesn't make that big of a difference, guys. Don't get caught up on that. Just be consistent so you can back test it yourself. And as far as this strategy, I know you guys don't have this indicator, but you can simply flip charts and, put a 34 moving average or whatever average you like on the chart, and then go, hey, look, that's draw you a line, and then flip back, and you get the same exact setup. So guys, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop a comment. I'll respond to them as quickly as I can. And as always, I hope you'll like and share my videos, and let me know if there's any specific type of content you would like to see. I know my channel is new and I do have a lot planned, but I did want to get at least one simple yet accurate trade strategy out there for you guys to be able to start executing. Now, I do have plans in the future to go over a lot more detailed, a lot more advanced entries and such. But in the meantime, we're going to go over some basics as well and try to build you guys a good foundation on how to be a long-term successful day trader. All right, guys, have a great day.